Hey everybody, Shane here, and today we're going to go over an amazing mock that I found and built online for the Polar Express. So here I have three of, I believe there's 7 or 8 different cars made for the Polar Express by this guy. It was something marine. I'll put a link and a snip here of his page. These things are very huge, very detailed, and very heavy. They are a ton of parts and they were super fun to build. So I kind of want to go over each one with you today. So up first, we're going to get right into the passenger train. And as you can see, it's big. It has actual working doors. It has steps that line up with the doors perfectly, which is just great. The only thing I am missing here is I need to print out the actual Polar Express text and put it on this 1x8 tile. It does have these little they're faux little boxes underneath. It kind of just gives it the look. They have wreaths on the side, which is very cool, and the top has that iconic almost like lighting. It's not lighting, but it's like the little windows in the top, like the vents in the top of the car. So let's actually look inside of this. So this is actually a 7 wide carriage, and as you can see here, the top is also 7 wide. It's 2 3x3 plates with a 1x8 and 10s in there, but it is a 7 wide car. It's a little bit bigger than most of the things I build. I build most 6 wide stuff, but 7 wide was pretty cool. And inside we can see our standard car. So this is a standard passenger car, nothing fancy about it. It has a total of 10 seats in there with this kind of like bar rail on the side. Very cool. There's no tiling inside, which I don't know if I'm going to end up changing that in the future or not, but right now it's not tiled at all. Now I might give it a little bit more rigidity down there to include adding some tiles here to the end. But because it is 7 wide, there's a lot of 5 parts that are using 5 bricks or 5 studs or 7 studs. So it does make some of it a little bit on the hinky side. So like right here, it's like this right here. This is a 2x3 and a 2x2, and then a 2x3 and a 2x2 sandwiched together opposite ways so that they can actually hold their form. But I would like to get a 2x3 tile and put on here just to give that a little bit of extra rigidity. But I mean, the details on this car are pretty basic. The carriage, the bogies, the wheels on each of them is very similar to all of them. Yeah, they have these little guns here on the side or on the ends to kind of show like some push bars. That one came a little loose. Yeah, a little bit of details there. But I thought this was a very, very cool passenger train. It uses a absolute metric ton of windows. I think there's a total of like 100 and some windows just in these 2 cars, or like 97. It's really close to 100 windows on these 3 cars. So yeah, that is the passenger carriage. Okay, up next we have my favorite. This is the kitchen car. So again, very similar to passenger car. We have the wreaths on each side. It's the same on left and right side. And then it has the 1x8 here tile for what will say Polar Express on there. It's got the same type of roof, almost identical, except back here we do have a wee smokestack, or smokestack or vent, whatever you want to call it. But that is a vent because again, this is a kitchen car, and as you can see, there's a lot of blanked out spots on here because if we open it up, you will see a ton of details. So here we are inside the kitchen car. We've got some shelves over here. We have some type of like wash basins. We've got a hot cocoa machine because this is the Polar Express. We've got some other little detailing, some more shelves, like a cutting board type of like tabletop there, and then an oven and stove with some pots. Up here we have a ventilation hood that you have over like any real oven, and above that is where the vent is. So when I put it on like that, that is actually right over top of it. So it looks like it's actually venting out into the world. And then on the other side, there is a very simple, long tabletop here with some cabinetry underneath of it that actually opens up. Again, a little bit hard because it's very tight in there because that's actually only 5 studs inside, where the car is 7 studs in total width. But I can also show you some pictures from the mock-up here because it'll be a little bit easier to kind of zoom in and see that. And that makes it a little bit easier to zoom in and see. But yeah, lots of details in here. This is by far my favorite one. Super cool, very detailed, and again, very heavy car. All right, and finally, aside from the engine actually being the most iconic piece of this train, you have the caboose, which is also very, very cool. This time we only have one wreath on each side. We still have the actual operating doors, which is great, with the steps underneath. You know, this rear one here is a little bit different. Instead of using steps on there, it's just using some grill pieces to give a little bit of details, but it's got a very cool looking tail on it, and it does have one wreath right there on the end. We've got a light, and this entire roof, this roof's actually really big, the way this comes off like that, and I popped a piece off the end there. And inside, this is more like this is a passenger car, but it's kind of more like a VIP business first class type of car there. So you can see we only have 5 seats in here. They are different colors. They each have a lamp beside them, which is really cool. It's very detailed for these chairs. They're built interestingly. Actually, these are all 1x2s underneath of them, and then this chair is a completely separate piece. Oh, no, it won't come out that well. But yeah, so these are very differently built chairs. They're not just using this chair, they actually have some arms beside them. So it's very cool. All the walls are completely connected. It's not like the Hogwarts Express where it has like a play wall that you pull out. Nope, this is all completely together, because also I don't think it's strong enough to kind of withstand having a wall that would be disconnected. The door here in the back is not, I mean, it turns a little bit just because that's how it was built, but the back door actually does not function. This is something I might change in the future. I've been kind of, you know, dabbling with a few ideas on how to actually change it or just make it as an opening. Since the end of these cars are just openings, like there's nothing there. It's something that I might consider doing here on the back, but it does look really cool. It's very unique, but I really am debating on changing that out. So yeah, that is the Caboose car. So yeah, that is the Polar Express train cars. I'm making this video separate from the actual engine because the engine and tender are so detailed. I want to give that its own video and not make this one too long. So again, these are very cool. I went ahead, the model is online. It's actually on Bricklink. You can access it. I'll put links to that down below. I'm also going to upload my own instructions for these. His instructions were okay, but once you built the passenger car, you then had to use this core instruction for all the other ones, with a bit of variation here on the Caboose. But I went ahead and remade each one of them so that it's a little bit easier. I did change out a few of the parts as well. Not many, but just a few to make it a little bit easier to build. And I just liked it a little bit better. So I will also link those instructions down below where you can follow along. I'll also have the studio file down there as well if you want to be able to edit these or modify them in any way to be able to work for you and your setup, or if you want to change anything, make them easier. I sourced most of these parts, or a lot of these parts, not most, a lot of the parts out of my own stock, and then I ordered everything else on Bricklink. So these are very large builds. They are pricey if you're going to just buy them straight out, but they are super fun, and I cannot wait to be able to put this around my Christmas tree. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time.